Yep, I'm doing it now.
All right. We are live, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, we're live.
Yep, we're live. Okay.
How's everyone doing? Let's wait for some people to get in here.
I am excited to talk about the Giants.
We are dangerously close to hitting 6,000 subs. That's really exciting. I'd love it if that happens by draft night. Maybe we'll do a little celebration. It's very cool. Appreciate the love and support.
I know. Anthony, I think yours is. Do you have your YouTube open? Can
Yeah,
you
I'm
mute it
putting,
if you do? I think it's like reverberating.
I mean, there wasn't a video playing. I'm just putting a thumbnail in.
That's weird. I don't know. I can hear it reverberating.
Well, the thumbnail's changed. I could try to unplug my mic.
Yeah, try that. Just real quick. What's going on, Cade, Airborne Cheeseburger, James Bradbury? Love to see it, guys. I'm so excited right now for the draft. I just want to get your opinions.
Alex, can you hear me? Is that a no?
I can hear you. My thing is annoying me.
Is it still reverberated?
For me, it probably isn't for you, I assume, right?
I don't hear any problems. I'm going to put the mic back in, though, because now it's with my AirPods. Are you sure you don't have
Might be me.
Open? All right, well, my mic is back.
What's going on, Alejandro?
We're just going to have to push it.
Appreciate the love. Yeah, I'm gonna mess with my stuff, and then we can kind of get started. If you guys have questions, everything like that, we'll talk about it.
According to Nick, Alex Wilson reports that the Giants are interested in Deshaun Watson. Now that is interesting. I haven't heard that yet.
I haven't heard that either.
Well, apparently you reported it.
Apparently I reported it. When did I report this, Nick? I'm curious. I mean, before all the allegations sound like a good idea. We've had this whole debate before, Anthony and I.
Yeah, I would stay very far away from him at this point.
Yeah, I think staying away from him would be ideal. What's going on, Rohan? Just waiting get a couple people in here, and then, we'll go through a couple topics. What's going on, Wildy Toussaint? Cool name. And Noam, really excited for the draft. I know you guys are. What are we, like 6 days away now? We'll be doing a live stream for the entire draft, just so you know. The whole first round, we'll be doing a live stream, going through all the picks. We'll be doing a whole live stream on the second day for all those things. And then we're going to make highlight videos for each player too, which will be pretty fun to do, I think. That would be pretty cool. And James, Peter Schrager has us taking JC Horn. What is our reaction? What's going on, John? From Montreal, Canada. I could tell from your last name. That's really awesome that you had some French or Canadian lineage. So Peter Schrager saying that we're going to go for JC Horn. I love JC Horn. He's a physical man corner. But, do we need JC Horn? Not really. We already, just spent 3 years, $39 million. And, it's on Adoree Jackson. What's the point of going with another pick and another cornerback in the first round if you already went with Adoree Jackson? And Nick, that's totally cool. You guys can go to Chris's stream. Don't really care. Also is a great stream. Great. We all love Nick. Nothing. Rather Chris. No harm, no foul. Don't really care whether you guys go to him. But obviously, we're going to be here talking about the draft and having some fun, and going through some different reactions. Maybe we'll do a couple of mock drafts, have some fun. Instead of doing a regular video like we would usually do today, we're just going to do talk to you guys, get your takes on a couple of players. I want to go through the Jalen Phillips. I want to go through the Jalen Waddles. I want to go through the Devontae Smiths, Micah Parsons, and all those different things as we get ready for the draft. And Ross, what's going on, my man? Why does it seem like most people can't give DJ a full third season before trying to get him out of town? That's a really good question. I think the Giants didn't really do much the last really 2 years in getting him the support he needed in terms of the wide receivers, in terms of the offensive line. Obviously, Saquon going down really, really hurt him because he was going to draw a lot of attention. But now, my question for you guys is, what do you think about this offensive lineman, Rashawn Slater or Elijah Vera Tucker? Do you think that going offensive lineman makes more sense right now than any other position? Because I'm starting to kind of like fall into the going back-to-back offensive lineman isn't a bad thing. I would be 100% cool with going Slater or Elijah Vera Tucker at 11. And I know not a lot of people want Vera Tucker at 11, but I think he's starting to grow on me a lot. And I really think he can be like that Pro Bowl level guard. The stream of NFL DNA, stream will probably be up until maybe 3 o'clock. We'll see, how things are going. If we have a lot of stuff to talk about. If you guys have any cool questions for us, we'll just keep going until, we get tired, basically. But Anthony, my man, what are you thinking about Elijah Vera Tucker? Do you think that he could be there for 11? Would you go with him at 11?
I wouldn't. No, I have a lot of players that I view more highly than I view Elijah Vera Tucker. That'll be there at 11 for sure.
Okay. Well, Noam, you would go Slater, then Wyatt Davis. You go back-to-back offensive linemen. I mean, that's one way to solve a position of need because you get your right tackle in Slater, then you get your right guard in Wyatt Davis. Obviously, like that would be, really shoring up the offensive line for the next couple of years, but I don't think they're going to do that. James, if you were Dave, would you trade back up in the end of the first round to get your edge? It depends who's there. You can't guarantee any of these guys are going to be there. The only one that I really do enjoy and I really like is Jalen Phillips. I like Azeez Ojulari, but I think he's going to be more of a pass rush rotational guy. He doesn't really do well against the run just yet in his career. And his collegiate career, I think he's more of a rotational pass rusher. Anthony, I don't know if you're looking at me like you're. I don't know.
I am. That's such cap, dude.
I don't think he's a great run stopper. I think he's a better pass rusher.
He's not a great run stopper. He's about even with Jalen Phillips, though.
I don't think so.
They're both just average run stoppers to me.
Really, I think Jalen Phillips is better. I think he's
sure, he's probably better. Jalen Phillips is like legitimately a top 10 talent, but Azeez Ojulari isn't bad against the run. He's just not great against the run. He's fine.
But I'm saying fine against the run at the college level doesn't say he's going to be adequate.
He'll be fine against it in the NFL level. He's such a good pass rusher, and that's what the Giants need. They don't need a run defending edge rusher.
Well, your outside linebackers, you need them to contain the edge, don't you?
Yeah, but if you have excellent off-ball linebackers like Blake Martinez to stuff the run, and then you have other guys who can stuff the run. Look at the interior defensive line for the Giants. They need an edge rusher, and he's definitely more than a rotational pass rusher. Just because he's not good against the run doesn't mean he's just going to be a rotational pass rusher.
Yeah, but
he's going to be an every down edge rusher.
I think Jalen Phillips is better.
Yeah, of course he is, but you're not going to trade back up into the end of the first round for Jalen Phillips.
Of course. I don't think Azeez will be there. You think he'll be there in the late 20s, maybe?
I think Azeez has a chance to be, but Jalen Phillips doesn't.
I mean, yeah, I agree with that for sure. I agree with that. I think if either of them are going to drop to the end of the first round, it'd be Azeez.
I would trade back up for Azeez potentially, but I would rather just trade down from 11 into the 20s and then draft the edge rusher. Why would I trade up? Because then, you're losing all this draft capital in a draft class that's just full of talent. Like, you are legitimately finding starters on the offensive line in round 3 of this year's draft. Why would I give up those mid-round picks? They're so valuable this year, and we only have 6 picks in general. So I'm definitely not looking to trade up at any point in this draft, unless, it's for a player that I think is going to be legit. And I think that the Giants are better off trading down from 11 rather than trading up at the back end of the first round.
Yeah, I mean, look, if there's no pass rusher that really screams. Let's talk about Jalen Phillips for a second, because I did a lot of research on him yesterday, and I love how aggressive he is. I love how strong he is. He can. I think he actually has that size to play 5 and 3 tech if they needed him to. But he can also play outside linebacker. He is so versatile, and that's what I really love about him. I watched him in the run game, and he does. Like you said, you told me he does like over pursuit a little bit. But he is so aggressive, and I think it's worth being aggressive and maybe being over pursuing a couple of times than being too patient and like not being aggressive, because he had 15 and a half tackles for a loss last year. And I think that his aggressiveness was because of that. Like that was a direct result of his aggressiveness. And I really do think like he can be an elite pass rusher. He has been compared to a lot of different things. And what's going on, Zach? Really appreciate you coming on. As soon as you saw this Twitter notification, much love. But Jalen Phillips, without the concussions, and I was trying to read up a lot about his concussions too, and trying to figure out like how like likely is it that he will have his career cut short because of these things. There's a couple things I want to talk about when it comes to Jalen Phillips. The first thing is, look at Sterling Shepard. He had concussion history coming into the NFL. He had concussions in high school. He had concussions in college. Obviously, that did not stop the Giants from drafting him. What's going on, Platano Power ×2? Really appreciate the love. And, with the Sterling Shepard concussions, Jalen Phillips, I think, is a little bit kind of worse right now because of how many he's had, and it's such a short span of time. He had 3 to 4 concussions. UCLA, he didn't want to retire from football. UCLA forced him to. They were like, you've had too many concussions. You can't play anymore this season. And then he took some time off. He went to community college. He got his head right. He got healthy. And then he returned to Miami and completely destroyed last year with 8 sacks, 15 and a half tackles, 45 tackles, and 15 and a half for a loss, rather. So, and he had an interception too. The guy was an absolute stud for Miami last year. He looked like a top 10 pass rusher. And if you're willing to, move past the concussions, most NFL players, especially big thumpers, probably have had some number of concussions in the past. I think that if they feel good about his medicals, if they feel like his concussions aren't going to be a major issue, because I know he's going to be a pass rusher. Anthony, my question for you is do you think that he's going to be picking up a ton of concussions? I think Joe Judge will teach him better fundamentals, better tackling fundamentals to avoid using his head, his neck. Do you think that he can avoid those concussions in the future? And if they feel they can get that problem out of the way for the most part, he's not taking big hits, he's giving big hits, if that makes sense. So he has the wherewithal to not use his head, not spear people. I think he has that those fundamentals to be able to do it. But then you have Joe Judge who can help, maybe coach those bad tendencies out of him. Do you think that he can avoid those concussions in the future?
Okay, so Jalen Phillips, to me, is absolutely a top 10 talent in this year's draft class. I think that he is talent-wise a top 10 pick. The concussions are a serious concern. I don't think it's possible to predict concussions. They just happen. Sterling Shepard, this is what I think is really interesting. Everyone wants to stay away from Jalen Phillips really badly because of the concussions, and I get it. He has the same amount of concussions coming into the NFL that Sterling Shepard had. Shepard has been in the league for quite a few years now and has been a really solid player, and he's had concussion problems, but he's still playing. Jalen Phillips is not one concussion away from retiring the same way that Sterling Shepard is. Sterling Shepard has had 7 concussions in his life. That is terrifying. Okay, Jalen Phillips has had 3. Sterling Shepard had 3 before he finished college. That's the big difference to me. You're talking about guys who are injury prone or guys who have concussion histories. Jalen Phillips' concussion history is actually not as bad as it is compared to a guy like Sterling Shepard, and I'm sure that there's plenty of other players around the league. The only reason that it's this big concern for everyone is because, like you said, UCLA forced him to retire. Now think about UCLA, where they are, where they're positioned on the map. They are definitely a school in an area that's very progressive with things, and they're not going to allow people with concussions to continue to play. Now think about Miami. Think about where Miami is positioned on this map. They're obviously going to let someone with a concussion play. Okay, you have to think about those types of things. Had he started his career at Miami, he probably would not have taken that year off. I don't think that would have happened. I just think he was at UCLA and they gave him this ultimatum: you're either going to stop playing football, or they really didn't give him an option, or you're going to have to leave and go elsewhere. And then he retired for a year, reset, found somewhere else to play. And I think that's really what it is. With Jalen Phillips, he only retired because he was told that he had to. I don't think that he would have retired if he started at Miami. And I know that concussions are no joke. They're nothing to joke about. They're very serious. It's very scary that he has these concussions. but relative to other NFL players, he hasn't had that many concussions. He really hasn't. It's just because UCLA has a policy, so they forced him to retire. But I think now he's back from that, and he's completely fine now, and he wants to continue to play football, and he wants to play it at a high level. And I think that he is a top 10 talent. And personally, with the things that the Giants just did in free agency, signing Kenny Golladay coming off of a major hip injury, signing Adoree Jackson coming off of back-to-back major injuries, the moves that the Giants made, I don't think they're that worried about this stuff. And I think that they should absolutely take Jalen Phillips with number 11 if they feel comfortable doing so, if they think that he's the best player on the board. So I think that they kind of proved that they're not that worried about injury history right now. They're banking on talent, and talent usually is what you want to bank on. So I think that Jalen Phillips, man, he's a home run selection for the Giants if they take him. And I think people might be overthinking the concussion thing just a little bit too much.
Yeah. I mean, look, it's the NFL. Anything can happen at any time. That's kind of the gist of it. Like, you think about Ryan Shazier, one hit, he's paralyzed. You know what I mean? Like, this, you're playing a contact sport. You're like modern day gladiators. This is not a sport. If you're scared of getting injured, if you're scared of concussions, if you're scared of breaking bones, like, you shouldn't be drafting people because you're scared of their, something that they've been already overcome, or rather the concussions and whatnot. And like, there is a fear that maybe he gets one really bad one and then suddenly he's out for months at a time. But at the same time, like, he is a defensive player. He's not an offensive player. He's not going to be taking shots to the head like that. They can coach his fundamentals to be a better tackler and whatnot. So, and one of his concussions came from a moped injury where he crashed on his moped and fell and like broke his wrist. So that, obviously does not help. But let's go through a couple of the comments. We'll start up a little bit. Let's see where we can find some stuff. Phillips is easily a healthy top 10 talent. We should trade back with the Raiders or Cardinals, then take Phillips. Not a bad idea, Zach. I actually like that. You can get some more value and a top 10 pass rusher. Did anyone get worried when Dave Gettleman said one position can never be too good? So, he always says this crap. I think Gettleman has a couple of like comments that he just always says. They're just very generic, like cheese and crackers. That's one. Another one is like, you can never have too many good players at any given position. You can never have too many good players at a position, whether it's wide receiver, whether it's offensive line, whether it's a defensive line, cornerback. So, he just says that because you can look at every unit and say, okay, we're good there. We're good on the defensive line. We're good on the wide receivers. We're good at whatever, running back, but he'll go out and draft anyone anyway. So it doesn't really matter. That's kind of just a generic thing. I'm not really worried about that. He also said that he likes to keep contracts flat, and then they went out and spent $215 million with none of them being flat. So there's that too. He's kind of just a ball of lies when he's on his press conferences, and it makes sense because they're trying to confuse everybody. Let's see, Ross. I love that Joe Judge is adding in great coaches from his past jobs. You all know that you have to not only draft great talent, but you have to teach them to be great men and players. So I love that. That's a really, really great comment that you posted there, because the Giants now, they used to skimp on coaching, right? The Giants always used to skimp on their coaching staffs and not, spend enough on bringing in great coaches and to help these players develop. The Giants currently have the biggest coaching staff in the NFL. Not only have they brought in a ton of Alabama guys, they brought in guys like Robert Sale, Russ Callaway from LSU. All of these guys are going to help maximize our talent right now. All of those guys have insider information on the talent coming out of the draft this year because of COVID, because of the Zoom interviews. You don't have the proper information, don't have the proper evaluations. All you can do is base off of the film you're watching and their pro days. You can't go and talk to them in person. You can't go and gauge who they're like. These coaches are so influential because it's going to help them tremendously in really evaluating these players on a deeper level, knowing them so much more. And I think that's why this coaching staff is going to do so well this year. The draft, I think they're going to kill the draft. And then they have the coaches to really get it done. Russ Callaway is actually one of my favorite low-key signings for them, because he brings an air raid style offense from Stanford, where in the SEC, they had the best offense, one of the best offenses in like SEC history. And then obviously you have him at LSU, and he really helped devise a more creative plan at LSU, worked with some of their big time players. And now he's coming to the Giants as an offensive assistant. He's going to help them devise more creative plans, more downfield approaches, attacking the seams and vertical routes. I love this Russ Callaway signing. I think he actually could be our future offensive coordinator. So keep an eye on him and his development with the Giants. If he doesn't get another job elsewhere, I could totally see him becoming our OC. He's that good. And even Ed Orgeron called him their secret weapon. So this guy's legit. Everyone loves this guy. He's awesome. So keep an eye on him. What's going on? Football talk with Benny. Let's see what else we got. Noam, what do you think with Justin Fields' draft stock after his disorder? So if you didn't know this, Justin Fields was diagnosed with epilepsy. It runs in his family. It's something that he's been dealing with. He's managing epilepsy, but apparently, according to the doctors and whatnot, they believe he will grow out of it. So it's not a major issue right now. I think that, it's something to keep an eye on, but I don't think it's going to affect his draft stock at all. I think he's been fine. He played the national championship game. He looked good there, despite his team absolutely looking terrible around him. And again, they said he's going to grow out of it, so I don't really think it's that big of a deal. Let's see what else we got here. Ben Askren has like 14.
I want to say with the Justin Fields, if it wasn't a problem in college, I don't see it being a problem in the NFL. Like you said, he's likely to grow out of it anyway, so I don't think it should hurt his draft stock in the slightest.
I agree with that. 100%. And Ben Askren has like 14 concussions. Come on, he can play. And Ben Askren just got his ass beat by Logan Paul, right? Logan Ryan. Logan Paul.
It was actually Jake Paul.
Jake Paul. So I can't tell the difference. They both blonde and confuse me because they're of their whatever antics.
Well, Jake's the younger brother. They both are boxers now. It's interesting.
Are they both boxers now?
Yeah, Logan Paul is about to box Floyd Mayweather.
Are you serious?
Floyd Mayweather about to fight, yeah.
Floyd Mayweather is going to kill him. He is so fast. Lightning. He's going to kill him. It's Ben Askren. Yeah. That guy shot up like 400 pounds overweight. He hadn't boxed in years. The guy's not even a boxer. He's a wrestler. Right? He's a wrestler.
Boxers now. They like to box. They do it for money, and they make a lot of money doing these exhibition boxing matches. And Floyd Mayweather's about to do one with Logan or Paul. So you have me saying that now. I hate you, Alex.
Logan Ryan and his hairless rats are gonna go and box Jake Paul now. But yes, they are irrelevant. I do not care for them one bit. What else we got here? We got Alex to the Corvettes. I don't know how to do this yet. I probably should figure out because I did promise I would do this at some point.
Yeah, you did.
I did. So did you, by the way. So don't act like this is all on me. After Dave press conference, who do you think they will draft? Edge, wide receiver, outside linebacker. I think Edge. After the press conference and after all the evaluations that they did, I think they're going to let the draft come to them. I think they could draft Edge. They could go with a variety of things. I think they're just going to go best player available. Because you don't know, like Rashawn Slater could drop to 11. Jalen Waddle could drop to 11. Like nobody knows what's going to happen in these first 10 picks. And then the Giants are there. Like nobody knows. So it's like you can sit there and just really wait and see what happens, see how it unfolds, and then take the best player available. I think that's the best case scenario. What's going on, Michael? Hope you're having an awesome day. Starting to think that we could be Edge, which worries me. I wouldn't be too worried if you like. I'll tell you this: if we get Jalen Phillips, obviously the concussions and the injury history scares me, but he's going to be a stud for us. He's going to be a day one influential playmaker. He's going to be an absolute beast on our defensive line until maybe he gets another concussion. You're really just hoping he doesn't get injured, but when he's healthy and he's available, he's going to be a stud. He's going to kill it. And what's going on, Evan?
I think that they are going to go Edge, but I also think that they're just going to wait and see how the board falls. I think that they're just waiting to see who's there at 11 before they make any final decisions. But I don't know necessarily why everyone thinks that Edge at 11 is such a bad thing to do. Like, Jalen Phillips is a really quality edge rusher. Azeez Ojulari is a very high-quality edge rusher. He's probably worthy of being a top 15 pick. And then you're only talking about if his range is 15 to 20 and the Giants are taking him between 10 and 15, it's not that big of a reach. It's like not devastating for the Giants just to take their guy there. I mean, sure, you want to trade back and get a couple extra picks before you select that guy. But really, I don't think that this is such a reach. These guys are very talented players. I think, people are really sleeping on them, particularly Jalen Phillips, because I understand the concussion thing that we just went over. But that dude would be a top 10 pick if he didn't have the concussion problem. So I'm not sure why everyone is really scared to take an Edge at 11, because these guys are going to contribute right away. And what everyone keeps saying to me in every comment section is we need guys who contribute right away because we need to see if Daniel Jones is a good player or not. So that goes for the defense as well. We need the whole team to be contributing. We need everyone to be good. So I think, when you talk about wanting a day one contributor, Jalen Phillips and Azeez Ojulari should contribute on day one. And I think that's why if the Giants do take them at 11, that's their mindset. And I'm not necessarily upset by it.
Yeah, I totally get that. And like, they see a pass rusher, if they draft one, they see him as an impact player day one. That like a lot of people will tell you when you're building a defense, you want to build it around a premier edge rusher, or at least one or two. But having a premier edge rusher is so valuable because it forces quarterbacks and offensive coordinators to really change their entire game plan. If you have an elite pass rusher and you have amazing secondary like the Giants do right now after getting Adoree Jackson, you are in such a good place. You will create turnovers, you will create opportunities for your offense. It's going to be really hard to stop the Giants on defense if they deal with a pass rusher. But again, it does leave a lot of skepticism when it comes to solving that offensive line spot because, who knows who will be on the board. But what's going on, Evan? Absolutely love the draft content. Every video I watch from you guys makes me more fired up about the draft. Really appreciate the love. Obviously, we post every single day for you guys, getting you as much information as possible, different scenarios, different rumors. I did the draft takeaways one, rather the press conference from Gettleman and Pettit yesterday. Is it Pettit or Pettit? Pettit.
It's Pettit. Chris Pettit.
It's Pettit. Chris, because he isn't, because it's like two T's and it confuses me.
If it was one T, it would be Petit and it would end in an E, but it's Pettit. Jon Snow Targaryen, I got this shirt. This is an Empire Sports Media Fireside Giants merch shirt. This is one of our own shirts. That is usually in the description for every single video. We'll post the link to it, but our merch shop is in the description of every YouTube video. We got really, really nice shirts, and this one's super comfortable. You can choose the quality of it. You can pick it, and I picked this one, and super, super comfortable. I love the shirt. And then Kenny G, baby. You know how much I love Kenny G, so yep.
Yes, sir. I mean, I have one myself. I have the dark blue and the navy blue. It's like $22. It's awesome. I'll even give you guys a promo code that gives you $5 off if you want. And let me know. Just DM me on Twitter, and I'll give you a promo code so you get $5 off. And it's like $16, and it's a sick shirt. I wear it all the time. I wear it to the gym, wear it on podcasts, whatever you want to do. And then we have awesome other merch on there too. Honestly, it's like super underrated stuff. It's actually sick, so you guys would love it. But let's keep going down the list. Let's see what we got. Anthony and Alex do the Corvette. We will do the WAP. I don't know these dances. Like I'm not like Charlie D'Amelio. I don't know these things.
You're such a clown, bro. You really are.
Yeah. So Daniel, I'm just getting it done this season. I do agree, Chris. How's it going, my guy? Draft Trey Lance, White Lotus. I'm hearing the 49ers might go with Trey Lance. I've heard rumors that they might go with Trey Lance there. That apparently they really like him. They would stash him behind Jimmy G for a season and then start him after that. Let's see what else we got.
Well, that would be really similar to what the Chiefs did with Mahomes. They take the guy who's kind of a project, who can, has the frame, has the arm strength, but none of the proven accuracy in college, right? I think that Mahomes was more accurate coming out, though. Trey Lance's accuracy is definitely an issue, but, it's kind of like Josh Allen. His accuracy was an issue. Now he's an MVP caliber player. So I think if the 49ers in particular were to take Trey Lance, though, and put him behind Jimmy G, that would remind me a lot of Alex Smith starting ahead of Patrick Mahomes for a year and then Mahomes taking over. And I think you could potentially see Trey Lance in his first season as a starter, break out similarly to how Mahomes did, but probably not to the same degree. But you could definitely see him have a monster breakout just because he would be playing in the Kyle Shanahan offense, which everyone knows is the most quarterback-friendly offensive scheme that anyone could play in. Kyle Shanahan's a genius. So I think that I wouldn't hate that pick. Any quarterback that they take other than Mac Jones, I totally get, because they have the coaching staff in place to get the most out of anybody. So if they want to go with the highest ceiling guy in Trey Lance, I respect that. But if they go with Justin Fields, who's kind of like the more sure thing, totally respect that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about Kwity Paye for a second, because I know Mark wants us to give our thoughts on Kwity. And I love Kwity Paye as a prospect, just not for us. He is going to be an elite run stopper right off the bat. He reminds me a lot. I think Anthony and I've talked about this, Jadeveon Clowney. I think that was your comparison for him for Kwity Paye, because he's going to be a very good edge setter as a down lineman in a 4-3 base scheme. He's not really an outside linebacker. He has had some reps standing up, but he's primarily going to have his hand in the dirt. He's going to steal that edge. He's going to be a very good run stopper with upside as a pass rusher. I think he's going to need a year to really maximize his potential as a pass rusher, but he's going to be a good run stopper day one. He has really strong hands, really good strength, some good burst off the line of scrimmage. He just has to develop his pass rush moves and really use that athleticism more functionally than just transitioning those power to speed moves. I think that's where he'll really excel. But I'm excited to see what he does. I just don't think we're going to go for him.
I think Kwity Paye is really talented, and I like him a lot as a prospect. But like you said, he's going to be an elite edge rushing run defender. He's going to be a run defender first, and he's going to be probably about an average to slightly above pass rusher, which is why I did make the pro comparison Jadeveon Clowney. Because Jadeveon Clowney has not hit 10 sacks in a season, probably never will never be an elite pass rusher, but he is an elite run defender. And I think that's what we see with Kwity Paye. I think that's what he has the potential to be. And Kwity Paye, I don't think that he needs to be a 5-tech. I think that he absolutely can be a stand-up edge rusher out of a 2-point stance. I think he can be an outside linebacker. But either way, I just don't think he's getting 10 sacks in a season. I don't think he's going to be an elite pass rusher. And the Giants right now clearly are looking for an edge rusher who's an elite pass rusher, which is why I personally lean towards Azeez Ojulari, who's more average against the run, but has really, really good pass rush moves, or has a couple. He needs a few more, but he really has that speed, that bend, that burst off the edge. That's what I really like Azeez for. And that's why I think he makes a lot of sense with the Giants as opposed to Kwity Paye, who's more of a run-defending edge rusher, who would make more sense with a team like the Titans, like the Browns, had they not signed Jadeveon Clowney. You know, a team that needs a second pass rusher, not their first pass rusher. That's how personally I see him.
Yeah, I mean, Azeez is so fast. That's what I love the most about watching Azeez. He's so fast. Like, he bursts and he does. Okay, so he has this one move that I really liked, and he pretty much does it. Like, he's very good with this one pass rush move. And basically, he attacks that outside. Like, okay, let's say like he's going around the end. He's on the right side of the line of scrimmage. He's going around the end. He grabs the outside hand of the tackle, and then he uses that other hand to like club both hands away, and he does it over and over and over again, and he succeeds like probably 65% of the time with it. He's so good at it. But again, like, there are going to be tackles at the NFL level that are going to adjust to that. They're going to figure that out, and they're going to stop him. They're going to find ways to, punch him off like really quickly and get to that punch before he does. But again, like, he's so fast, he can adjust his angles. He's really bendy. But I think Jalen Phillips also has a good solid bend, but he's just stronger, and he's just as fast. And like, that's why maybe he's not just as fast, but he's fast. Azeez Ojulari kind of like his biggest strength is his speed, I think. And I do like him a lot. He gets to the quarterback, and when he gets there, he causes fumbles. I noticed that. He caused a lot of fumbles into the quarterback. He goes for that arm. He doesn't just try to wrap him up. He's going for turnovers. So I really like that about him too.
Yeah, I got to throw a little bit of analysis out there for both Ojulari and Phillips. I think that Azeez Ojulari has that cross chop move that you mentioned, and then he has the dip and rip, like the speed rush, the typical speed rush that you have. Outside of that, he doesn't have many other pass rush moves. He doesn't necessarily need them because he's really good at those other ones, but he does need to add more pass rush moves, and he doesn't have any counters. He doesn't move, and then he gets kind of stuck, and that's it. And I've seen him do a bull rush. It's been effective at times, but not really. The one who's got a good bull rush is Jalen Phillips, but the one who's also got a good swim move is Jalen Phillips. The one who's now, I got to say this, though. I don't think that he has the best bend around the edge. I think that he doesn't really sink his hips. I think his pad level is always really high with Jalen Phillips. I don't think that he is bendy around the edge like that, but I don't necessarily think that he needs to be, because he's got so many pass rush moves and so many different ways to win. So that's personally how I feel about Phillips versus Ojulari. If you're talking about a guy with bend, I think Ojulari's bend is far better than Phillips, but I think that Phillips is just so much more refined technically as a pass rusher. Plus, he has that frame. He doesn't have any size limitations. You could say Ojulari has a couple of length and size limitations, but Phillips just has this whole complete package of pass rush moves, size, strength, just not as bendy as you might want him to be, which might be why he's better as a 5-tech personally, but it doesn't matter. He's just got so many other weapons in his arsenal. That's why Jalen Phillips is, a top 10 talent, even though he isn't the bendiest around the edge. Doesn't really need to be.
So the way that I view those two guys, Azeez Ojulari, in my opinion, he goes into every snap knowing what pass rush move he's going to do. I mean, this is the difference between these two guys that actually kind of stands out a little bit above the rest. Azeez goes into it knowing what pass rush move he's going to use. Jalen Phillips goes into every snap ready to react to what the offensive tackle is going to give him. So I think that was like kind of what I noticed the most, was like Azeez like already predetermined what he was going to do, and Jalen Phillips has so many different moves. He reacts and then adjusts accordingly, which I really like about him, because it shows you how versatile and diverse he is with what he's capable of doing. And that's kind of why I have him as my number one edge rusher. Well, I do have him as my number one edge rusher because of that.
I think that's a perfect analysis about how they go in with their pass rush moves. I think that's the best way to put it. I think Jalen Phillips has incredible reactions, and he does read and react. You know, he reads the offensive lineman, then chooses his pass rush move. Azeez Ojulari just goes out there with his one move that he has, and that's kind of his idea. I think that was really, really solid analysis right there, Alex. And I want to answer this one question. Also, thank you, Nikki Sav. Shout out Nikki Sav, making TikToks now. Thank you for the support. And then Cody Dunbar's. Can I? Oh, I can do that too. I didn't know that I could link them. Oh, you just stole my link. You stole that from me. Yeah, Cody Dunbar. Would I be happy if if Dallas traded up to get Kyle Pitts? Well, the report that we just got is that they're not doing that. So I don't think that they're going to. But if that were to happen, if that were a smokescreen, I would not be happy with that because I think that Kyle Pitts is the best offensive weapon in this class, and I don't want to see him play for a division rival.
Yeah. And before we get to John, and really, really appreciate the generous donation, John, you're the man.
Thank you, John.
In 1 second, I'm going to just give Cody my take. So would we be happy if Dallas gets Kyle Pitts if they trade up? I don't want Kyle Pitts in the NFC East. That's how I see this. I don't want to have to play that guy twice a year. He is going to be a monster. He's going to be a menace, and I do not want to play him in the NFC East ever. So I am praying to the Lord of the football gods that he goes to Atlanta. I hope he goes to Atlanta personally because we don't have to see him very often if that's the case.
I want him to go to Miami. I really hope he goes to Miami. I think that would be awesome. So fun to watch.
Yeah, but I did see a report today saying that Dallas loves Kyle Pitts, but that's like saying, you know, I love ice cream or you love ice cream. You know, everyone loves ice cream. Everyone loves Kyle Pitts.
As soon as we got on here, like as soon as we started the stream, Ian Rappaport tweeted that they are not trading up for Kyle Pitts. So I'm a little confused. Like this question is kind of like a non-question unless you really think that was a smokescreen. But Ian Rappaport said he's certain that it's not a smokescreen. So they're not going for Kyle Pitts. But I don't know. Guess we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. So, John, my man, thank you so much. Do you see us trading back with New England and potentially drafting Parsons if he's there at 15 and drafting Creed or Wyatt Davis in the second round? This is a great question because this is like exactly what I would love the Giants to do. If New England was willing to trade back and Micah Parsons was there and they got Creed Humphrey or Wyatt Davis and you got more draft picks out of it, that would be like the biggest home run draft ever. You know what I mean? Like you get draft capital, you get arguably probably the best defender in this draft class, and you get your offensive lineman in round 2. You're walking away freaking heroes because you probably get another third round out of it. And this wide receiver class is so deep. There's going to be some great value picks like Diami Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown. There's going to be some fantastic options in the third round at the wide receiver position. Tamori and Terry, I know a lot of people are enamored by him too. So I'm pretty excited to see what they do with this. But John, really great question. And I think that if that scenario unfolded, we would walk away absolute heroes. And there's a possibility that Parsons falls to 15, guys. I'm not ruling that out. It's unlikely, but because of all the allegations, because of all the crap that's been going on around him, you never know. You can never, rule that the probability of him dropping out. So I would love to, even if we take him at 11, I'd be happy. What do you think about this, Anthony?
Parsons' draft stock is a huge question mark because once again, within the past couple of days, his allegations came up again as a pretty much national news storyline. Once again, people were talking about it. We thought that they were put to rest. They clearly haven't been. People are still discussing it. People are still really afraid by it. He can go as high as the top 10. He can go as late as the top 30. That's how I feel about Micah Parsons. It's really strange. I don't see him making it out of the first round under any scenario. He's far too talented for that, no matter the allegations. The team is going to take him in the first round despite the allegations. Okay, there's no way he falls out of the first round. Also, you have to keep in mind that teams are going to want a fifth-year option on him. So that's why if he is about to fall out of the first round, someone's going to trade up into the first round and take him there because they want that fifth-year option on a guy like Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons at 15 would be an absolute dream for me. I want Parsons at 11 if he's there, okay? But trading down and getting more draft capital, that's always the way to go. You guys know I'm a huge proponent of trading down, and I'm a huge proponent of drafting Micah Parsons at 11. So that is a dream scenario for me, and I would love to get an interior offensive lineman in round 2. So Creed Humphrey would be a great pick. Wyatt Davis would also be a great pick. I think that he's a really nice pass-protecting right guard. I think the Giants absolutely need a pass-protecting right guard. So I think that was a really good scenario that you laid out, and I fully do support that.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. And if you like our videos, if you like our content, make sure to go follow us on TikTok and Instagram, Fireside Giants. This is the only thing I really ask for because it's really important. We're trying to get so much great content on all these different platforms, including YouTube. And we post stuff daily on TikTok and Instagram and videos and short breakdowns and analysis. And we don't want you guys to miss out on that stuff. And, we work really hard. So we want you guys to enjoy that. Just, do us a favor and go like those and follow them. Would mean a lot to us as we prepare for the draft. Got a lot of good stuff coming out in the near future. But let's see what else we got. JC Silva, as long as Parsons knows the playbook and doesn't fall asleep in meetings, I'll take him. I feel like that's probably an ideal thing for a first-round pick to do, is not miss meetings. Not like Kyle Lauletta, who got stuck in traffic. Remember that when Kyle Lauletta got stuck in traffic and everyone freaked out at him?
Yeah, I do remember that. I thought that was actually really funny.
Yeah, I feel like we were kind of harsh on him for getting stuck in traffic. Have you ever been to MetLife?
Of course we were, because the problem is everyone was thinking that this 4th round pick was going to be the next Eli Manning. So of course we were super hard on him. We were like, Eli would never do this. It's 4th round pick. He was supposed to be a developmental backup, and everyone twisted it into him being a potential starter. So I don't know. That's why it was put under a microscope. It shouldn't have been. It was really stupid. I also want to respond to Steven did ask me specifically a question. Do you think we will come away after day 1 with 2 to 3 first-round picks?
Like first-round pick value players, meaning? Is that what he means?
I think he means, would we be trading down in the first round or trading up in the first round and potentially having 2 picks in the first round? I don't think so. My gut feeling is the Giants stick and pick. Until history proves me otherwise, Dave Gettleman is going to stick and pick. I would like this to be the year that changes. I think there's a good chance this is the year that changes. But ultimately, I think they end up with 1 first-round pick, and they just take a pass rusher at 11. That's personally my prediction right now. I'll give you that right here. My 1 week away prediction, the Giants stick at 11, and they draft a pass rusher. That's what I think they do.
I think you're right. I do think that they're going to stay with what they got. Gettleman said it in the press conference, and again, he's an absolute liar in the press conference. That's not a bad thing. I want him to lie as much as possible because I don't want him to give away anything. But he did say, I'm okay with having 6 picks. I don't need to trade back. I don't need to move up. So I think the Giants are cool with what they've got. They had a ton of picks last year, including like 4 7th rounders. So they have a lot of depth pieces already, but it's never a bad idea to trade down if the value is there. He did say he's considered trading down in the past. Gettleman said he's never done it, but he's considered it, but he has to see the value. And, I'm not really considering anything that he said in terms of that because he didn't do it. History says he didn't do it. So I don't care if he wanted to do it or he considered it. Every good GM should consider trading down. It just has to be the right value. Obviously, Gettleman did not see the value there when he was offered it. So that's kind of, how it unfolded there. But let's see what else we got here. I think he's freezing sometimes, but
Well, someone, I think you pinned this comment earlier. I don't know if we responded to it. I think this is a really good point by John here. Gross Matos was also explicitly mentioned in those allegations along with
great
Michael
point.
Parsons, and there hasn't been a problem with Gross Matos yet. And I think, like I've been saying, this problem, because I'm pretty sure that the allegations of I think it's a Penn State cultural problem. Penn State has had a lot of locker room problems in its history over the past 15 years. There's just been a lot of locker room problems in multiple sports. But with this particular thing of hazing, that's a cultural problem that the coaching staff has to turn a blind eye to and has to allow to happen. Okay, if they step in and say, no, you can't do this, you will be removed from this team, it doesn't happen. And in the NFL, that's what would happen. The coaching staff would say, no, you can't do this. And yes, good point, Royal Money. He was a kid. He was a 17, 18-year-old kid who did some stupid things because he was put into this locker room that had a certain culture, and he adopted that culture, and that was a problem. But that wouldn't happen in the NFL, in my opinion. It hasn't happened to Yetur Gross-Matos, and I don't think that it would happen to Michael Parsons either. I'm not afraid by it. I hope that they draft Michael Parsons. Jack, you say they're not drafting Parsons. I feel like a lot of people don't think that they will at this point because of those allegations. I think that they might be making a mistake if they pass on him if he's on the board at 11 because he's another guy who is a top 10 talent, but have his red flags pushing him outside the top 10. So I don't know. It's a really interesting discussion to have about Michael Parsons. We've been having it for a couple months now. But personally, you guys know my take on it. I'm not too worried about those allegations. I think that some of them were false anyway. And then in general, I think that it was a Penn State culture problem. That's the main problem.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think Parsons has done a couple of messed up stuff. It's not just that. It's like the yelling gun at high school from these crazy allegations and whatnot. I don't know. Like, I think this is a Penn State thing. I think he has a daughter now. I think he's developed, his maturity a little bit. And I do think that you have Coach Chaos, who was there at Penn State. You have Pat Flaherty, who was there at Penn State. You have Cam Brown, who was there at Penn State. They could probably either vouch for him or tell them to stay away from him. We don't know what they said behind the scenes, but they could easily have said he was just wrapped up in something that just wasn't good, a bad culture. And we know, Saquon's been there and he turned out fine. So maybe it really just was, maybe it wasn't the culture, because there was a lot of great guys that did come from there that haven't caused any problems. And, now there's Mike Parsons and he's obviously wrapped up into something bad. Who knows? We're going to find out, though, in less than a week. We're going to find out where he goes. But another great question, John. Good one for that. Let's see what else we got. I need $5 for lunch. Grand Carlos. Ross. I love the Kyle Rudolph signing. I think he will be a great teammate and red zone option. He'll be good for Evan Ingram. I do too. I think Kyle Rudolph is probably one of the most underrated signings we've made this offseason. Why? The guy hasn't dropped the pass in 2 years. The guy hasn't dropped the football in 2 years. And all of it, let's get one thing straight. All of Evan Ingram's interceptions came within the 0 to 10 yard range from the line of scrimmage. 0 to 10 yards right in the middle of the field. Basically hook routes. Basically just hooks and curls and sit down routes in the middle of the field between 0 and 10 yards away from the LOS. That is what Evan Ingram's weakness is. They just got Kyle Rudolph to dominate that zone right there and not drop the football. We are going to see an extreme uptick in efficiency in that zone. We're going to see no more interceptions because of that. We're going to see better drives because of it. And you're going to have Evan Ingram, who I think is going to be a lot more diverse going to the slot and really working in line and working the vertical seams. I think that's kind of where guys like Russ Callaway will come in and helping devise these more intricate route combination and concepts to help these vertical type of players like Kenny Galladay, like John Ross, Darius Slayton, and Evan Ingram. I think he's going to help those guys a lot as an offensive assistant in devising ways to get them open. So what do you think of Kyle Rudolph?
I love the Kyle Rudolph signing. It gives the Giants the consistency and reliability that they need from the tight end position. With those guys running those 10-yard, 5-yard hook routes like Evan Ingram was doing, I've been saying for a calendar year that is not Evan Ingram's strength. Okay, his strength is being a vertical threat, being a weapon downfield, even running slants from the slot, running out routes, running post routes, corner routes, running routes like that, running double moves, go routes too. That's what I like Evan Ingram doing. I don't like him running curls. I don't like him running 5-yard hook routes. I don't like him running stick routes. Don't really even like him that much in the flat. I think that's where you need a guy like Kyle Rudolph, who will catch the ball if the ball is catchable. He's dependable. He's what the Giants needed there. And I think that the contract was very solid as well. Really like that signing. Huge fan of it and huge fan of Kyle Rudolph. Think he's going to be a really underrated player for the Giants this year.
It kind of just sounds like you don't like Evan Ingram at all. I don't like him in the flat. I don't like him on the hooks. I don't like him.
No, but I love him on double moves. I love him on go routes. Love him on seam routes. Love him on,
So he should just be a receiver.
Love him on post routes, corner routes.
He should be a receiver.
No, he should be a dynamic tight end, not a tight end running Kyle Rudolph's routes. He was just playing the wrong tight end position.
He really doesn't fit the tight end mold anymore. I think he's worked his way out. He's not a good short yardage receiver, and tight ends need to be good in that area. They need to be good at picking first downs. We're using their body to make those catches in traffic.
I agree, but at the same time, I think he's improved enough as a run blocker where you could say he's still good to be in line. Plus, being in line at that tight end position and then running a drag route is a beautiful idea to me, especially with Evan Ingram.
I love that, but he dropped a couple.
The Giants also didn't really have him do many drag routes from the inline position. But I think back to that one play, I think it was against Philadelphia in 2019, maybe 18. I don't remember. He ran one of Odell's signature routes. He ran a sluggo. And for a tight end to have sunk his hips on the cut up off of the slant was just insane. He got wide open in the back of the end zone. That route was holy crap. This is a tight end doing that. We need more of that. We need them to do that more with Evan Ingram, but they don't. They just don't utilize him that way. This past season, they utilized him in a ton of short yardage, 5 to 10 yard curls and hooks. Hated that. Really didn't like the way that they used him. But now I think they'll be able to use him the way that he's intended to be used because they have a guy who can do the stuff that they were trying to make him do last year with Kyle Rudolph. So I think it's going to help Jason Garrett. It's going to help Kyle Rudolph. It's going to help Evan Engram. Really, really like that signing. Gives the Giants the dependency, the reliability from the tight end position that they desperately needed.
Exactly. And what's going on, my man Darren? What's up, guys? Love the channel. Content, keep it up. Let's go, Big Blue. Stand up. Yes, sir, Darren. Really appreciate the love as always. Means a lot to us. You guys are tuning in and really watching the channel. Obviously we're posting a lot. And that's not going to stop anytime soon. We'll get highlight videos of every single prospect that they select. And I'm super excited to do that kind of work because we'll be posting a ton of content and stuff so you can see what we're getting in the first and in the next couple of rounds in less than a week. So I'm so excited about that. And let's see, Cody. What position do you think the Giants won't go in the entire draft? I don't think they're going to draft a running back. Maybe a late round one, but I don't think they have enough picks to take a chance on a running back. I think they got Devontae Booker, maybe an undrafted guy, but I don't think they're going to spend a pick on one.
Safety. I don't think that they'll draft a safety. They have a very talented safety room. It's very crowded. I don't think that they end up going with a safety.
I think they end up taking a strong safety, but not a free safety.
Why would they take a strong safety?
Because Jabril Peppers is going to his 5th year. They haven't re-signed him yet. I think they take a guy just to maybe just develop behind him.
But they have Xavier McKinney. Yeah,
but maybe they want him to play more free. Maybe they want a guy that has more of a strong safety, more in the box, as a bigger body than Xavier. He's more of a smaller
Xavier might have the smaller frame, but he absolutely is is a box safety. That's what he played for the most part.
Yeah.
Did we answer Zeke Anderson's question? I don't remember. Did we answer Zeke Anderson's question?
Where?
About trading down?
Yeah. We're going down. Sorry, I'm still up. Let's go to Zeke. Okay. What's going on, my man Zeke?
Yeah, because I appreciate the donation. Thank you, Zeke.
Absolutely. Thank you.
He's never traded down because he doesn't know what he's doing. It's an option now because of Judge. I agree. Dave Gettleman often seems like he doesn't know what he is doing. And I think that the Joe Judge effect is for real because the Giants, I can confirm this for all of you guys, they did have a deal in place in the second round last year to trade down. They agreed to a deal with the Chicago Bears. The Bears were trying to trade up. Then Xavier McKinney was on the board. They said, well, you're canceling this trade and we're drafting Xavier McKinney. So Dave Gettleman has actually tried to trade down and had a deal in place last year. He definitely didn't have any deals in place any year prior to Joe Judge arriving. So the Joe Judge effect is real. You guys know me. I'm the #1 leader of the Joe Judge fan club. I love Joe Judge, and I love what he has done for this football team.
Absolutely. Zeke, you woke up and chose savagery for Dave Gettleman's life. And I have to say, Joe Judge, ever since he joined this team, it's been different. It's a different feel. It's a different draft process. The evaluations feel a lot more in-depth. I'll tell you what, I haven't felt like this going into a draft in a while because I feel like the Giants are putting so many resources into evaluating. I know Pat Shurmur and Ben McAdoo went and evaluated and did this and that, but they were more offensive evaluators. They were more like looking at quarterbacks. Like Ben McAdoo spotted Patrick Mahomes and Pat Shurmur liked Daniel Jones. But what Joe Judge is doing is different. He's going to look at defenders. He's looking at special teams guys. He's looking at depth pieces. He's looking at offensive weapons, offensive linemen. He went and helped Mark Colombo, help get Andrew Thomas and Nick Gates before he beat the crap out of him. So this is kind of, what I like about Joe Judge is that he's all over the place. He's not just focused on the quarterback. He's not just focused on the offense and calling plays. He's in the defensive room. He's on the special teams room. He's in the offensive room. He's in Dave Gettleman's room. He's doing a lot of different things at once, and I think that's why I love him so much. He's such a versatile piece to this team, and he means more than just a head coach. He's also our head scout in the way I look at it. I know we have like Chris Pettit and a bunch of other really big scouts, but I see Joe Judge as our primary scout and talent evaluator, and I think that's why they really liked him because he was so good at that exactly. But let's move on. Let's see. Let's see. Brazzy. Guys, let's not forget we have Lorenzo Carter and Ocean Exhibit is coming back to an already loaded defense with Parsons. This is the best defense in the league. It is simple. So I'll tell you what, I agree with you on one thing specifically. We should not be discounting Ocean Exhibit and Lorenzo Carter. A lot of pass rushers, especially mid-round guys, see bigger jumps in year 2 and year 3 than they do in year 1. Ocean Exhibit is, injured for a majority of last season. I think he's going to have some impact next season. Lorenzo Carter was looking awesome before he tore his Achilles. Obviously, really hard injury to come back from. So we'll see what he looks like on the way back. But those are two guys I haven't given up hope on either of them. And I'm surprised a lot of people have already. Those are two guys who have potential. They can fit our scheme. They can do important things for us. And I'm excited to see what they can accomplish next season because they're a lot better than Jabal Shared and even Carter Coughlin. I'll tell you that right now. So I'm pretty excited about that. Anthony, what do you think about those two?
I agree with this comment. If you add Micah Parsons to this defense, it is the best defense in the NFL. I think that really does have that potential. The reason that I think that is because Micah Parsons is the perfect scheme fit for the Giants. When you look at how they use their off-ball linebackers in terms of having them blitz around the edge on stunts, Micah Parsons is a better pass rusher than probably most of the pass rushers on the Giants roster right now. So having him blitz off the edge on stunts, incredible. They also like to have their linebackers play a lot of QB contains on the edge. Micah Parsons, again, has all of the read and react abilities, has all of the agility, the speed, the strength, and the pass rush moves to play those QB contains. They also like to have their linebackers play QB spies a lot. Again, you're talking about speed, sideline to sideline speed, pursuit angles to chase down a quarterback as they scramble out. Micah Parsons, that's perfect for him. This is what the Giants love to use their linebackers for. And then, of course, running game. They like to use them in the running game. Blake Martinez is phenomenal against the run. Imagine having Micah Parsons, who's also phenomenal against the run, right next to him. Good luck running on the New York Giants when you have the nice interior defensive line plus Micah Parsons and Blake Martinez. Good luck running on us. Plus, like I said, he makes the pass rush better. He's not adding much in coverage because he really has never been asked to, so he's got really raw ability there. But he has all the speed to be rangy. He has all of the tools to be a good coverage guy. We just haven't seen him do it because he hasn't been asked to be a coverage guy. So I think that with that, but also with that, the Giants don't really ask their off-ball linebackers to play much coverage. Oftentimes they have their safeties drop down into the box and play coverage. Giants linebackers like Blake Martinez wasn't really asked to play coverage very often. He did have to, of course, every inside linebacker does. But for the most part, if you look at how many snaps he spent in coverage versus most off-ball linebackers in 3-4 scheme, he really didn't spend that many in coverage, and he did blitz a lot. Micah Parsons would be the home run selection for the Giants based on their scheme fit. He is the perfect player for the Giants scheme, which is why I want him so badly. He's an amazing talent, but for the scheme fit, oh my God, I dream about seeing what he can do playing that same role that Tay Crowder was playing, that Carter Coughlin was playing. He would kill that role to a T. He's perfect for it. Really want to see Micah Parsons in blue. Can't get it across more. And I see a lot of people agree with me in the chat, so I'm happy to see that. In terms of the scheme fit, it's perfect. You guys know who my pick is at 11 if he's on the board.
Yeah, man. I mean, I also saw a report saying the Giants hope Micah Parsons isn't on the board at 11 because they don't want to have to make the decision to pass on him, which is exactly why you should take him because screw the allegations for a second. His style of play, he's a menace. He's a killer. You know what I mean? He kills people, and he uses pass rush moves at the second level to shed run blockers. The guy is an absolute stud. He can play outside linebacker. He can rush the passer if you wanted him to as a stacked OLB. He can rush the passer from the middle linebacker spot. He's your long-term solution there. He's a player that you draft and then build a defense around. He can stop the run at a very high level. He can rush the passer. He has room to grow as a pass coverage linebacker. I think he has the athleticism to do it and the instincts. He just needs the reps. Just Penn State didn't use him in that way. They used him as a run stopper. He had his head, he had his body leaning forward. He was downhill linebacker. He was not dropping back into zone coverage. That was not what he did. But when he did it, he had a couple pass breakups. He has not the best hands, but he's a linebacker after all. So what do you expect? But he also made a nice catch. I saw him at his pro day. He was catching passes like a wide receiver. The guy, if you listen to his pro day quotes, he's like, I could play receiver, I could play running back, I could play quarterback, I could play corner, I could press the passer. He's like, I could do everything. And that's the kind of player that the Giants want: versatility, diverse style, and they can fit him anywhere. So that's kind of what gets me excited about Micah Parsons. He would fit our team to perfection because he can do so much with him. Patrick Graham would have a field day. Our defense would be top 3, if not the best in the NFL, in my opinion. John, I know we found our CB2 in Adoree Jackson, but what do you think we will draft? But do you think we will draft a cornerback in this draft for depth? And what do you guys think about Trey Brown from Oklahoma? So Adoree Jackson, depth piece. I actually really like Julian Love.
Hold on. Adam Schefter just dropped a bomb.
What is it?
Okay, Kansas City Chiefs just traded their first-round pick from Thursday night, along with 3 other picks in the 2021 and 22 drafts to trade for Orlando Brown from the Baltimore Ravens. That's crazy. That is insane. That is a huge trade. That is like a total bomb. Sorry, I had to interrupt there, but that is an insane trade that happened live. Yeah, Orlando Brown to the Chiefs, protecting Patrick Mahomes' blind side is huge.
for a long time too. So they gave a first round pick with 3 other picks in the 2021 and 2020. Wow, they gave up a lot. But you're getting him.
They also gained Orlando Brown 1 pick in this year's draft and 1 pick in next year's draft, but they gave up 3 other picks. They gave up a lot.
They gave up,
and they have to pay him. Good point, Nicky Sav. They're going to have to pay him quite a lot of money. It's really, really interesting.
Wow, they don't have much cap space. I mean, once Patrick Mahomes' deal kicks in, they're going to have no money, but they're going to have amazing. They're going to have amazing offensive line. They still have to replace that right tackle spot, I believe, don't they? Or did they sign somebody? Maybe they'll draft somebody, but they just lost their first round pick, so there's that.
Well, they got their left tackle, which is good, but now Baltimore has 2 first-round picks. Could they be a team that potentially tries to trade up for a pass rusher or for a wide receiver now with 2 first-round picks in their back pocket? That's something we have to consider as well.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely right. I mean, damn, Patrick Mahomes getting freaking Orlando Brown. It was only a matter of time.
Or would they trade up for an offensive tackle now?
He's probably hyped, man. Orlando Brown's probably so hyped right now. He's like, I'm going to like the best team in the NFL, and I get to protect Patrick Mahomes, like who's going to be like a 15-year all-star, for the rest of his career. So that's, man, I would love to be Orlando Brown right now. He's going to get paid too.
I forgot that the Chiefs drafted Lucas Niang, Nicky Sav. I actually really liked him coming out. He was a pretty solid prospect. So that's interesting. Yeah, wow, that was a bomb. Sorry to cut in on the John Kim question, but that was a real bomb right there by Adam Schefter. That's huge for the Chiefs, man. Yeah, draft bombs, trades.
Especially on the live stream. It's a perfect time to get in on those. Holy crap. Chiefs signed Joe Thuney, but he's an interior guard, right?
He's a guard. He's going to be their guard. So now the left side of their offensive line is incredible. They have Orlando Brown and Joe Thuney. That's like, I mean, that's
sick.
They're building an offensive line. They just got to put the rest of the pieces together, but they will.
And they'll use Travis Kelce on the right side. They'll just use him as like a chip blocker on the right side to help that right side if they don't draft somebody.
Here's the full details. So Kansas City gets Orlando Brown, the Ravens' 2nd round pick this year, and a 6th round pick next year. So they also got a 2nd round, but they gave up 1st round pick this year, 3rd round pick this year, 4th round pick this year, and 2022 5th round pick. They gained a 2nd round pick out of that though. That's kind of interesting.
They got a 2nd round.
They got Orlando Brown and the 2nd round. So they basically got Orlando Brown and moved it down. Their first pick in the draft is now 27 spots later, though.
I feel like they kind of fleeced Baltimore.
Yeah, but also how much leverage did Baltimore have? Orlando Brown was refusing to play for them. So they got what they could. They got a 1st round pick out of it, and they'll probably turn that pick plus the other one. They'll probably move up, get another offensive tackle, and just replace him. I think that's what they end up doing now. I think Tevin Jenkins, perfect fit. Christian Darrisaw might be a good fit for them, too.
Bill Cosme.
Yeah, but then they can definitely stay where they are and pick him. They don't have to trade up for
they don't need to get Cosme. Wow. So you think Baltimore fleeced KC? I think
interesting.
I think the Chiefs won that trade because of how much they got back. They moved down the draft about 27 spots.
27 spots.
But
just they did get Orlando Brown.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens, if the Ravens got Rashad Bateman at 31, it'd be an absolute freaking steal.
He's not falling to 31.
No
he shouldn't.
Dude, really I would love if the Giants traded back and got Rashad Bateman. He's one of my favorite receivers in this draft. I actually think he might have the most. He has the. It's hard to say because there's so many good guys, but I think he actually could end up being the best out of all of them. In terms of like longevity in his career, I think he could end up being the best receiver in the draft class at the end of the day, but to be seen. So, Nikki, I want to get to one of your questions. Owe or Matos? Is that even I saw one before you were talking about somebody else.
No, this is the same question that he was asking. I just like Jason Owe or Utergos Matos. I think Utergos Matos is pretty solid coming out. They're kind of very similar. I have Jason Owe as a round 2 player. I think Utergos Matos going round 3.
There's no film on it.
I don't remember.
It's just athleticism. Like that. These are the thing with Owe is like the position he plays is such a high valued position that like if you had a cornerback who had great physical traits but like no film, he would probably be like a 3rd round pick. You know what I mean? Like Owe has like no film. There's like so little film, but he's just a specimen athletically. But because he's an edge rusher, he's so much more valuable. it's kind of that's kind of how I see it.
I agree. Athletic specimen. I think he's a better run defender than he is a pass rusher right now, but he has all the tools to develop into a really good pass rusher as well. But he's really strong. He
Is strong.
plays with some serious strength, and he sets the edge really well. I feel like he's not very bendy, not very flexible. You would think his agility would be better, but his straight line speed is insane. His closing speed is insane. So once I just think he's just very raw. He needs some more pass rush moves, stuff like that. But overall, I think that he's got a lot of strength functionally and a lot of speed, which can really do a lot in the running game because he sets the edge really well. So I think that's where he strives at the beginning of his career, but he has the potential to develop into a pretty good pass rusher.
Yeah, and just one more thing about Orlando Brown. He's going to play the last year of his contract out with the Chiefs, but he hasn't signed a new deal yet. So keep that in mind. Like, I imagine they will extend him, but he hasn't signed a new contract yet. So
the report is that he's going to play out this year because this is the final year of his deal. So he's going to play out, but I'm assuming that Kansas City is going to make it a point of emphasis to move some money around and sign him to an extension next offseason.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Anyway, on to Jon Snow Targaryen. Is Vera Tucker at 11 a reach? I would consider him if Slater's gone. I don't think so at all. I actually really like him at right guard. I think he has experience at left tackle. He's experienced at right guard. He also has Pro Bowl potential. He's another player, really, really smooth. He's agile. I think I would be fine if we took Vera Tucker at 11. I wouldn't be mad about it. I'd say we have our right guard. We have our offensive linemen set in stone for the most part. I would be fine with it. Some people might be angry, but at the end of the day, you can't be mad about getting good offensive linemen. That's a position of premium. Any spot except for maybe center on the offensive line is a premium position. You know what I mean? So it's like when you get a guy like Elijah Vera Tucker who has the experience to play multiple spots, that's even more valuable because you could even kick him out to right tackle if you wanted to and see what he has. But interesting. Let's see what else we got. We got John. We'll do a couple more and then we'll log out for today, my friends. Really appreciate all the 160 people in the chat. Make sure to leave a like on the chat too. Really, really appreciate all the love as always. Thank you so much. And John, scenario. You are Gettleman. Who and when are you selecting an offensive lineman, edge guy in this draft? If I'm Gettleman and I had my choice of, let's say Penei Sewell's off the board, but Jalen Phillips and Rashawn Slater are on the board at 11, I'm going with Rashawn Slater just because he has all-pro potential, and he's being compared to Zach Martin, which is a pretty big deal in my opinion. If a lot of those big analysts like Daniel Jeremiah and these guys are mocking him as that type of player, then I'm probably gonna take their word for it. A lot of people have been making that comparison, so I think I'd go offensive lineman at 11 if those two guys are on the board. The second round, I'd probably go with an edge. If I had no choice, if it was offensive lineman and an edge, I go OL first round, edge in the second round, see who drops to me. And I think that's part of the reason why the Giants evaluated so many people, so many prospects at the edge rusher position, because when their 42nd pick comes along, they want to have as much information as possible on some of these guys who they could potentially look at.
Personally, for me, offensive line, you go in any of the first 3 rounds. You have to take an offensive lineman within those first 3 rounds because of how deep this draft class is. Like I said, there are starters in round 1, 2, and 3 that are going to be sitting on the board for the Giants. So they got to go offensive lineman at one of those 3 picks. Edge, it's kind of thin. You're either going with one in round 1 or you're not making it a point of emphasis to go for one at all, in my opinion. You're either taking one in the first round and you're having a strong conviction about it, or you're waiting until round 2 and you're not having as strong of a conviction, or you're waiting until round 3 and you're hoping to get a rotational guy. If you're looking for a starter, you're getting one in round 1 or you're not getting one at all. That's how I feel about the edge rusher class this year. There are a lot of solid guys who can be rotational pass rushers. There are only a select 3 that can be day 1 starters on the edge and play every down there. So if you're going to edge, you got to go in round 1, whether you're trading down or you're reaching at 11. But personally, I don't see it as a reach if you're going Phillips or Ojulari. So that's my take on those 2 positions. Wide receiver, though, that's a position where I think the Giants can wait as late as round 5 to address because there's so much talent at that position in this year's class.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, Quincy Roche, someone just mentioned, like him, but again, he's a 3rd-round pick. You can't really expect him to be like a standout edge rusher. Mostly, those guys are like rotational guys. Maybe they'll have a couple productive games, but they're not going to be elite players for the most part. A guy like Jalen Phillips is an instant impact player. But
I like Roche. Just don't think that he's a day one starter. So.
yeah, no, I agree. And Daniel Saint, thank you so much for the donation. Really appreciate the love. Wyatt Davis in the second round. We know, we like Wyatt Davis. We've talked about him before. I think he'd be a pretty solid option for the Giants at right guard. I mean, he can start immediately. He's a plug and play type of guy. I think the Giants run a power gap scheme in the run game. So he might have to adapt to that. He's more, used to those inside zones and whatnot, and just kind of those zone schemes with the power gap. They have those pulling guards and stuff like that. I think he might have to shed a little bit of weight, get a little bit more agile. He's more like a power blocker. Like he's like a Will Hernandez in my opinion, but I think he has a little bit more upside in terms of if you tried to refine him. I think Will Hernandez has been through Will Hernandez has been through like a crapshoot of different schemes at this point. Like he's been through Pat Shurmur, he's been through Jason Garrett. Like he's just being like kind of, when you were a kid, you ever had one of those rock tumblers where like you would put the rocks in it and then you tumble it and they'd come out all like shiny and stuff. Like that's kind of like Will Hernandez, except he came out as like a jagged piece of like limestone. I really hope wild analogy there, but I hope
was
back in the rock tumbler and he comes out a nice shiny little pebble. So I really hope that is what he comes out to be at left guard this year. But I think Wyatt Davis in the second round would be an awesome pick. I would not be upset about it one bit at all. But let's take one more question before we sign off here, Anthony. I'll let you pick which one you want.
Well, I'll give my take on Wyatt Davis in round 2. Yes, that's all I got to say. I like Wyatt Davis a lot. I don't think that he would have a problem fitting into the scheme because I think that he, his pro comparison is Kevin Zeitler. I read that and then I watched him. I said, I see that. I completely see that. I think he plays a lot like Kevin Zeitler. And Kevin Zeitler is pretty good in our scheme, so I think that works. So I guess we'll go with this one. Thank you so much for the donation, Brian. We'll have this one be the last question before we sign off. Thank you so much. I would go with Waddle or Smith in the first, then Creed Humphrey in the second. Now, I really like that scenario. I don't necessarily know if the Giants are going to go wide receiver in round 1. Smith, Waddle, I think there's a good chance they're both on the board. The way the board keeps shaping up, the way that the quarterbacks keep getting pushed towards the top, I think there's a good chance we could see Waddle and Smith on the board for the Giants. Question is, which one do you prefer to take? Me, I prefer Waddle. Alex prefers Devontae Smith. And then Creed Humphrey in the second. The thing with Creed Humphrey is he is a center. He's a left-handed center. So are you going to move him over to left guard or right guard? Might be a little difficult. He might struggle with that transition in year 1, but long-term, I do really like him as an offensive guard. I would like him in round 2 as well. I like that scenario a lot, Brian.
I think that's really, really good because you get one of the best receivers in this draft class, so potentially like gold jacket type of player in Jalen Waddle or Devonta Smith. And we just made a kind of a video yesterday talking about the two and where we see them and, just kind of analyzing what types of player they are. I love Devonta Smith. I think he has the higher floor. I think Jalen Waddle has the higher ceiling. But if you know me, I'm a little bit more conservative. I love those higher floor players. Devonta Smith really is an incredible talent. I'm not worried about the size. Go look at Will Fuller, by the way. I just saw this. Devonta Smith is 6'1", 170 pounds. Will Fuller's 6 foot, 172 pounds. He's like the same size. And Will Fuller is one of the best receivers in the NFL. I wouldn't say one of the best, but he's up there. He's probably an elite number 2 receiver.
The thing is that their playing styles are drastically different.
Yeah, but I'm saying
Devontae Smith is actually being reported as 166 pounds.
Yeah, but he probably
that's how much I weigh, dude.
It might not be his game size though. You know what I mean? Like he might gain a little bit more weight for the season. You
would hope so. You would hope an NFL team gets him to put some weight on.
There's such a small sample size of players of his size with his athletic ability and his route running.
There's no sample size.
There's no sample size. So like. If anyone can actually go out there and say he's going to suck because of his size, you have no stats to prove this. Okay. Like you have no reason to believe he's going to be bad because there's no sample size. Like go find me a player that just won a Heisman, who's arguably the best college receiver of all time. Go find me that sample and explain to me why Devonta Smith is not going to be a good NFL receiver. I'm not using that as an example because there's really no statistics to base this off of. So for the most part, love Devonta Smith. I think he's going to be fantastic. Creed Humphrey in the second round. I think those interior guys have to be able to play center and guard. I think Creed Humphrey can make that transition to left guard. He'd be just fine. And you have a backup plan in case you need to replace Will Hernandez or maybe he's not playing well and you have to replace him. So there's that too. But again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Fireside Giants, this live stream today. Wanted to get some thoughts out there. Well, obviously maybe we'll do another short one before the draft just to kind of review what we're going to talk about and stuff like that. But we're going to be doing the live stream for the draft, the entire first round. I'm really excited to do that. We're going to be going through, we're going to be breaking down the players, that are taken. We're going to be reacting to all that stuff. We'll do a couple giveaways because I feel like that's necessary. And I'll give you guys some cool stuff, some t-shirts, some stickers and stuff like that throughout the video. And then, that'll be fun. So you guys have some incentive to join us and hang out, and it'll be a really good time. So I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. We'll have videos out in the coming days for you as well. So make sure to keep checking in on the YouTube page, and also make sure to go follow the TikTok and Instagram. All it is Fireside Giants. Go make sure to go follow those, posting content every single day and unique stuff that you're not going to see on the other channels. And all of it's obviously free. We're doing it for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed all of that, and we'll see you guys later. Much love as always.